Welcome back to the Green Beret Life. This is the SCIF. I am Matt. The other dude is Stu. And we are a 501c3. Please go visit our website, TheGreenBeretLife.com. If you want to ask us a question, anything that has to do with the military or anything else, it is TheGreenBeretLife@gmail.com. Try to get back to everybody who emails us. If you're interested in doing a class, we specialize in pistol, rifle, shotgun, but we do some other things too. What we try to do is get veterans into the outdoors, veterans, first responders, and their families into the outdoors. So everything we do goes to that. With that, I'm going to pass it on over to Stu. We're going to talk about what we're going to go over tonight. Once again, we're going to be on YouTube for a short period of time. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here at YouTube. But as everybody knows by now, we get hit on YouTube when we start speaking and telling it like it is. Okay, so we have to watch what we talk about here on YouTube. So we're going to talk about a few stories, and then we're going to switch over to Rumble and Odysee. We are under the Green Beret Life at Rumble and Odysee, so please come and join us there. Stu, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to start out, while we're still on YouTube, we're going to talk about Nikki Haley and the results of the polling out of the primary and how that stuff panned out. We're also going to touch on the U.S. airstrikes that seem to be pretty much hitting everywhere in the Middle East again after we thought we were out of that quagmire. It looks like we're being drugged back in.
Just when you think you're out, Stu? Just when you think you're out.
They do. They drag you back in. Some other stuff we're going to try and talk about. We've got some news out of Illinois with the gun ban there that they're trying to implement. There's a judge that looks like he may be kind of standing up a little bit and holding these people's feet to the fire. We'll see what turns out with it.
Stu, there's two bits of news from Illinois.
Sure.
The other one has to do with Pritzker. Apparently he's dropped some weight. Did you hear this?
I did not.
From his belly to his ass.
I was about to say, did he drop a cheeseburger?
One night only.
One night only. Thank God it's only for one night.
Yeah.
There's also been a story come out about the Democrat-led January 6th committee has been accused of deleting over 100 files. They've gone in and found where these files have been deleted, and they've recovered them. But the thing is, they're all encrypted, and the Democrats that were leading the January 6th committee at the time so far have not turned over the passwords to those files so that the Republicans can now see what information they actually had when this whole deal was taking place. Let me see. We've also got the border and the ruling that came down from the Supreme Court saying that Texas had to allow the Border Patrol access back into that. What was the name of that park? Eagle Pass?
Eagles Pass. Yeah. Eagles Pass.
Yeah. So got a lot to talk about, a lot of different things hitting. We're going to try
there's an EV situation too, isn't there?
Oh, yep, there is, where I watched the video kind of trying to make sense of it. It seemed like what was happening is they were able to inflate it wasn't really the mileage, or they were able to inflate the
efficiency of EV cars, but it gets convoluted. Yeah. And these carbon credits, we'll talk about this later, but they're allowed to, by law, greatly exaggerate the efficiency of these EVs. And it's all nonsense. The way they gain money, there's only one company that bottom line, makes money off of EVs, and that's Tesla. And it's not for what you think. We'll get into that a little bit later on.
But that pretty much rounds out the topics we're going to look at tonight. There's a couple of other little things we'll try and throw in there if we have time. But I think first off, Matt, you want to talk about the airstrikes, or you want to hit on Nikki Haley?
We'll talk about Nikki Haley first, and we'll go right into the airstrikes. Okay. Last night we had the New Hampshire primary, obviously, and it ended up being Trump won by depending on who you're watching, 12 or 13 points, 11 or 12 points, excuse me. And it turns out, as we were talking about leading up to this, in New Hampshire, independents can vote in either the Democrat or the Republican primary. Now, that doesn't mean if you're a Democrat, you can switch, but you had to have switched by October, and then you can switch back. Initially, there's a couple stories here. I got to watch because we're on YouTube, what I'm going to say. But the bottom line is Nikki Haley received 70% of her votes were from non-Republicans. And everybody says, well, there might just be independents that vote conservative. No, they did a lot of interviews on the way out, a lot of exit polls. And a large number of these people say, we're here to try to disrupt Donald Trump. Who are you going to vote for in the fall if it's Haley or Biden? Biden. That's what we got. And that's who is holding up her campaign, as is the CEO of LinkedIn and the founder of LinkedIn. I'll think of his name in a second. He's a radical leftist. He was her largest single donor, and he has dropped her as of today. Nikki Haley gets up there and basically gives a victory speech, for lack of a better term. Trump kicks back and says this is insane because obviously, she's in this race to harm Donald Trump. She has no chance of winning. Okay, now you can
she's in the race right now, Matt. She's the backup, because what they're betting on is Trump is going to be too handicapped and too injured from all these lawsuits and everything else. They're banking on they can get one of these lawsuits to come to a successful conclusion for them, which will take Trump out of the race, and then Haley will be there to pick up the baton and finish it. That's the goal.
In which case she'll lose to whoever the Democrats run, and it'll be the status quo, and our country will probably get to the point of collapse. So
even if she won, though, Matt, it would be the same thing as if the Democrats.
It absolutely would be. You're 100%, but she won't win. She's unlikable. Nobody's voting for her. This is all a farce with the establishment donors. We're going to get into another story with Kerri Lake as well later on that we're not going to talk about on here. We're going to talk about on the other side of the head of the Arizona RNC coming to her at the behest of people out east to bribe her to get her to drop out of the Senate race for Arizona. It is actually scary stuff for those of you that haven't heard the audio. It's all over the place out there, but it is something that we already, most of us here knew this is what was going on, but now you have in real life, in real time, you can hear how this goes down.
Well, the thing that's funny, Matt, with this Nikki Haley, if you looked at the actual numbers, 70% of Trump supporters were registered Republicans, and 27% of them were undeclared. Nikki Haley's was the exact opposite of that.
Yep.
70% were undeclared, and 27% were Republican. Yep. So it was a complete inversion of the numbers. And like you said, they did exit polling where they're talking to people and they ask them, are you registered Republican? No, I'm not. Who did you vote for? I voted for Nikki Haley. Okay, well, in the general, are you going to vote for Nikki Haley? No, I'm going to vote for Biden. Yep. So they have no intention. They're not there to participate as a Republican in choosing Republican candidate. They're there to sabotage Trump. And I think one of the interviews I even saw, that was what he said. He's like, it's about voting for Nikki Haley to damage Trump. And that's all it is.
And when you look at South Carolina, because Nevada's next, she's not even in Nevada, so Trump automatically gets all of that. But she's going to South Carolina, and she is right now, depending on what polls you look at, between 40 and 50 points behind Trump in the state where she was governor. Now, what did she ever do as governor in that state that made her stand out? She got rid of their flag. That's the only thing she ever did. And that's This woman is, I think Vivek hit it out of the park when he said she's Dick Cheney in heels. So here's, I brought up this bribery attempt on Kerri Lake. And to me, if you have blue collar logic, you couldn't hold it against somebody for saying, hey, this is something that they came to her with too, but she accepted. You know what I mean? We don't know this for sure. It's a guess. Could just be talking out of our ass, but this is what we have always suspected. And nobody likes Nikki Haley, dude. Nobody. Republicans don't like her. Democrats don't like her. Listen to her talk. She's completely unlikable. She really is. And she's got zero chance. And all she's doing is ruining herself. I think DeSantis saw that his last chance was getting out. If he wants to have any future whatsoever, was to get out and support Trump right away. I think the damage is too big for him personally, but she has got no future anywhere. So she'll probably ride this into the ground.
Hey, Matt, let me try and play this. This is a Twitter post that's embedded in the article, but this is the individual I was talking about for the interview. I don't know.
Be careful. Be careful. You don't get a copyright strike. We're on YouTube.
Oh, you think okay. Well, basically, the text of it is here. He says, I think we'd be better to have her against Biden in the election. And then he was asked, do you consider yourself generally a Republican, Democrat, or independent? To which he affirmed he's indeed a Democrat. If it was Nikki Haley against Joe Biden in the general election, who are you voting for? Joe Biden, he replied.
Yeah, and you heard this over and over and over again. You saw a lot of really feminine men with their wives, and you could see they were beaten down. These guys were like beaten down, and they're like, never Trump, looking at their wives. Absolutely, never Trump. Like, you better say what I told you, But you get a lot of those injected with soy, right? So, anyways, let's move on. Everybody knows she's a joke. She's going to draw us. Here's my prediction, Stu. She drops out before South Carolina because it's just getting so bad for her.
I think so too. I think when it gets closer and they realize that it's just going to be insurmountable, that they're going to decide to suspend the campaign rather than take that hit to save the little bit of reputation and dignity that the campaign has left. Exactly. Because otherwise, if you were to take that sort of a hit, man, they just would not be able to recover.
Well, you look at DeSantis. I mean, the hit DeSantis has taken. Boy,
I was ready to vote. I was in Iowa, and
I was ready to vote for DeSantis in 2028. I cannot stand DeSantis, and this is actually good because now you see, we talked about this before, the John Bolton ties and all of this nonsense going way back. So, and the stuff that he was trying to get done in Florida through sort of nefarious means, placing, high level RNC operatives' wives in positions that they had no business being in, trying to get Trump off of the ballot in Florida, all this dirty stuff. And when you see people on our side, especially people that Donald Trump has helped, Ron DeSantis, get him elected in Florida. Nikki Haley puts her up as the UN ambassador, stabbing Trump in the back at the behest of the donor class, the people that sent that individual, that Jeff DeWitt is his name, from the RNC in Arizona, to make Kerri Lake an offer she couldn't refuse from out east, right? So it's a joke. Everybody knows it. Hopefully she will be done here in the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before South Carolina. And let's move on to the next topic, Stu.
All right. Did you want to talk about the airstrikes?
Yeah, we can both talk about those airstrikes here on YouTube. We're back hitting Shia-backed targets, Iranian, for those of you uninitiated. We're back hitting Iranian targets in Iraq. As you know, Iran has a huge influence over Iraq now via the Shia population. Some could argue we did that, right? Unbelievable.
They could indeed, and would probably be good on.
Unbelievable, because this is entirely self-inflicted. The Biden administration removed all of the restrictions the Trump administration had put on Iran to cripple them financially, and it was so effective. The Biden administration immediately removed all of those, allowed them to sell oil to China, make hundreds of billions of dollars, and even funnel them cash, and start the process of allowing them openly, like they never really stopped, to develop their nuclear programs. And this is what you have. We have the Iranians funding terrorism all over the Middle East, soon to be all over the world, is my guess. And now we have to get involved. So what we do is they hit us, or their surrogates like the Houthi rebels out of Yemen hit us, and then we fire a bunch of missiles and basically into the desert. Yeah, a little more.
And abandoned buildings and
it just nonsense to make it look like we're doing something, and putting on a show.
One of the articles I saw, Matt, said with all that, they're like they may have gotten 2 people with all the everything they shot. But hey, I want to see, because there was something that had to do with this. Let me see if I can find it here.
I want to make a quick point, though, right before you do that, Stu, is this is all to get the machine rolling and to spend your money to bankrupt us a little more and pay off all of their political benefactors and in the military-industrial complex, and in a way launder money, in my opinion. So this is more of the same. And this is kind of what Stu was alluding to before, that even if you did get Nikki Haley as president, you'd have the same results. This is what it's all about. Money. And it's a big fucking club, Stu, and you ain't in it. Who is that?
Here's Joe Biden. He was asked about the attacks on the Houthi rebels, and here's his response.
Can't hear it, Stu.
You can't hear it?
No. There we go.
Can you hear it? All right, hold on. He's being asked about the attacks on the Houthi rebels.
Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No.
Okay, be careful. 5 seconds, Stu. We're going to get a copyright strike.
Yeah, so basically he's asked about these attacks on the Houthi rebels. Are they effective? And he says, if by effective, do you mean are they working? And he says, no, but we're going to continue them anyway. And I saw, let me find that image right there. I saw that of Joe Biden, and I'm like, you know what? That picture reminds me of something. And I went and looked.
It doesn't remind me of Joe Biden. If you know Joe Biden from years ago, that looks like a different person.
No, you know who it looks like?
Who?
It looks like, let me find it right here. That's what it looks like.
There you go. There you go. What was the comedian that does that? What's his?
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham.
Yeah, that's Walter, one of his ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah. Yep. There it is. There it is. That's excellent. I mean, it's a spitting image.
It is. It is a spitting image right there.
That's perfect, dude.
But and so I mean, I guess the thing is, like you said, all we did is launch missiles into the middle of the desert. Biden just admitted they didn't do anything. They weren't effective, but we'll continue sending missiles into the desert anyway, just because we can act like we're doing something instead of actually doing something.
Exactly.
And it'll continue on par for the course. And to think, just 4 years ago, we had the Abraham Accords and almost all of these different entities sitting down at the table and kind of sheathing the swords and the knives and being willing to communicate and work things out. And here we are, 3 short years later, and
putting Iran in a box. We had the Saudis, the Jordanians, the whole Sunni Arab world wanting to talk business and making money, right? And controlling terror pushed by Iran. So the Shia and Iran.
When you go and you look at pictures of Iran in the 70s.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was westernized, man.
Yeah. It was a thriving country with, now it's, I mean, you get what you pay for, it's.
Oh yeah, Stu, back in the Q course, like if you got Farsi, I had Arabic, but a lot of guys that went to 5th group had Farsi, and all of the instructors were from pre-Ayatollah during the Shah days of Iran, and you got really the inside scoop of what it was like to live there under the Shah as opposed to the Ayatollah. So,
yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Well, I guess we are seeing it now. See, I was going to say I couldn't imagine seeing your country fall and degrade like that, but I mean, I think we're kind of getting a firsthand look into that here ourselves at the moment.
The Iranian population is still a very educated, dare I say, westernized population, and they've risen up several times, expecting, it just the times they've risen up. Obama was in power and got no support from the United States whatsoever. And this is why we just need leadership back in the White House. Trump had Iran in dire straits, and it was all financially. It wasn't shooting missiles there, putting Americans in harm's way. It was choking them off financially. And the next step would have been collapse had they been able to keep that up. And
do you think they want them there as a boogeyman?
I think the people right now, the deep state under Trump was getting rid of them. Trump was going to collapse
the establishment powers that be. Do you think they want Iran there as a boogeyman?
They want the whole Middle East as their huge distraction that they can blow up at any moment. That's what, in my opinion, humbly speaking. Who am I? I know a few things, but in general, this is just blue collar logic once again. And I think they want the Middle East as let's look what happened under the Obama administration to Egypt. The two most populous countries in the Middle East are Egypt and Iran, right? And in Egypt, we had Hosni Mubarak, who, because people here don't know shit about the Middle East, so the media can push the propaganda and say Hosni Mubarak was a dictator and this and that and the other thing. Hosni Mubarak, of all the things he kept the radical elements out. Egypt was westernized. You could go there and feel safe visiting the pyramids, going to Sharm el-Sheikh, going to Alexandria, the whole 9 yards, right? They blew that country up. And it took the military, who was all trained here in the United States, to step in and stop it, because they brought in this Mohammed Morsi that was going to take Egypt back to the time of Muhammad, 600 AD. And there was going to be a full-on civil war in the most populous country in the Middle East. So this is what these powers that be are doing. And
at one point, we had good relations with Egypt, just like kind of like we did.
He was our ally. He was our ally. He had good relations with Israel. Egypt, there was nothing wrong with, but just let them go and light that powder keg. Look at Libya. What did we do in Libya? Did we make that place better? We had a guy there who was spying on the rest of the Middle East and Africa for us, right? Yeah. And what did we do? Now, who controls Libya? We don't really know.
No, yeah.
Warlord, you
Throw
know?
a dart.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then Syria, there's another guy who used to be an ally of ours. Why were we so adamant about going into Syria and kicking that place over? Your guess is as good as mine, but I think the thinking man would obviously say, hey, you know, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? I got it backwards. But I believe that the powers that be basically want to be able to blow up the Middle East. They want to be able to flood the Western world with immigrants from Africa and the Middle East to get us to cause a bunch of destabilization in the world and get it into their one world order. We cannot allow it. The whole regime is cracking. The deep state. We need to stay the course and do what we're doing. And Nikki Haley, this is why this is so important, why people are getting so pissed, is helping them. Just remember that, in my opinion, allegedly, right? So,
do we have any comments that you see on YouTube or anything yet?
I don't see any comments on YouTube.
Okay.
But let's take this this time right now, Stu, to ditch YouTube and go over. We want to start speaking freely and not being worried about this nonsense that we're worried about over here. Please, thank you if you've joined us here at YouTube. Please come and join us over at Rumble and Odysee. At Rumble and Odysee, leave us a like, which I think is a fire over there. And please take part in the conversation. We enjoy you guys when you take part in the conversations. We are going to pop smoke here on YouTube in roughly 15 seconds. See you on the other side.
Yeah. Before we do that, I want to thank Matt and Cindy joined in. They're saying hi, and I've got my family popping in too, supporting the effort. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us on YouTube. Follow us over to Rumble. We'll continue for another. It was supposed to be originally another 30 to 40 minutes, and Matt and I have decided we are failures at timekeeping, so we go until we're done. And we'll see you guys over there here in just a few minutes. Or, as a matter of fact, sorry about that. See you guys over there now. We're going to bounce off of YouTube now.